Oh yeah, now I see you.
There you go. Just gotta
Money
get the
never
blur.
sleep.
For real, bro. I'd say, like, for this unscripted part, when I don't ask you any questions that I already have, like, you could
Yeah.
be completely fine with it. I really don't care. This part's obviously gonna go on YouTube and everything, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Like
Mm-hmm.
right now too, we live on
Yeah,
night right now.
yeah, we're live. Second person over the pond, basically, how I always say it.
Over the
First,
pond.
yeah, first person was actually Freddy Konfeddy. I just did one with him that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks, but you are officially the second person over the
Hell
pond,
yeah.
basically. Just glad to actually have you here, man. It's been a
It's
while.
an honor.
It's been a long time coming, not gonna lie. So
Yeah,
don't mind me. I'm just blink. Like, this happens all the time. Like, don't mind me. Like, that's just a normal thing that I do. Like, I blink for like a second or two just
yeah,
because I
no,
gotta
no,
like
don't
do
worry
everything,
about it.
man.
Don't be ashamed or like don't excuse yourself for that. It's just normal human behavior, I guess.
Yeah, man. So what I actually did talk about, or like what I did bring in notes, basically, was that you are basically a prolific performer in the live scene of funk, especially like when it comes to Europe.
Yeah.
So how were you able to actually? I would say your most recent gigs, or how were you able to actually establish yourself? I would say early, because when I was talking to a bunch of other people from like the Europe scene, like Rob, Teddy, like every once in a while, like when he hops into Discord every once in a while, but he basically, and I also said it probably in one of my videos as well, like you're very, I wouldn't say vocal, but you're everywhere at this point. So how did you basically become like that one person that everybody goes to, especially when it comes to people in the scene of Europe for funk?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everywhere is pretty much an overstatement, I think. I mean, it's for me, you know, like especially when you dropped that video about live shows the other day, and you were saying, "Yo, this in fucking Germany and Hamburg is the shit. You gotta go to Sorrymane." I was like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on?" Because you know, like in my point of view, I'm still just like some dude out here in Hamburg who went to some funk parties 7 years ago or something, and I like the style of music, and decided to start doing that music myself. And then at some point, you know, like a friend of mine was starting to DJing. We were always like DJing with just like a DJ controller in the park or like at home, and just you know, just doing it for fun. And at some point, it was like, okay, we're getting pretty good at this. And then we had some friends who are rappers, and then we said, okay, let's just fuck it, let's do a live show. And yeah, then it all started from there basically. Then we did a couple of those. Then COVID hit, and we couldn't do shit for 2 years. But we've been fucking practicing all during COVID. We had like a bunch of sessions during that time where we would just hang out outside, mostly at the university campus, because for some reason that's the only point in whole of Hamburg where you can just play loud ass music in the middle of the night and nobody gives a shit. So we would just all hang out there, you know, smoke blunts, drink beer, and DJ funk shit the whole time. And yeah, that's basically how it came to be. And then, you know, COVID ended. We did some more shows. Then eventually we started the Phonky Friday stuff. And now we're here, I guess.
Yeah, man, it's actually funny that you say that, because literally everybody that I talk to is like, bro, I just started this because, and it's the same thing with me. Like, I started this because I liked it, not that big of a person. I think it's funny because everybody sounds similar in a sense, because it's an online genre, basically how people describe it all the time. Is everybody's pretty laid back, down to earth in general, for the majority of people that I either met so far or have talked to in the last 2 or 3 months, and probably in the next couple of months as well.
Yeah, for real.
It's honestly surprising and shocking at the same time, because there's a lot of people that are bigger names that you would consider being sort of selfish in the music industry, but with this community it doesn't seem like that, especially in recent years, I would say.
Yeah, I mean that's also what I love about it, especially you know getting to know people like Roland Jones, like last December, or like you know I consider myself really lucky to have found this genre not you know in some kind of internet what's it called environment, but you know like just going to clubs in Hamburg and experience that shit live. You know, at first it was just you know trap parties to me, but then at some point I found out about DJ Smokey, and then that was my personality for like the next 2 years. So yeah, it's like because there's people like AlphaMob and Lords of Shamaru and Night of the Trill still, who's been doing that shit forever, since like maybe I think 9 or 10 years now. And so I consider myself really lucky to have
Like cross
like to
paths
live in
with those
this.
people, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like at first, those were also like just some people I would look up to and be like, whoa, shit, it's fucking AlphaMob, and I'm going to the shows. I'm like, I distinctly remember at some release party of his, I don't know how many years ago, but long time ago. I went there, and at some point I was so fucking drunk, and then he was just sitting there, and at the point I was like, okay, I got the confidence now. I'm gonna go up to him and talk to him, and I was just like, yo, what's up, man? Nice album, man. Yeah, nice. And I was just gone, and like now, just by doing music myself and doing these shows and all that stuff, obviously because the scene is still pretty small, even though, we definitely got a more live happenings here regarding that shit. It's still pretty niche and small here in Hamburg, so it was really inevitable for us to connect at some point. And like now we're pretty good friends, and doing shit together, and also planning stuff for the future and all that. So it's really cool because you just get to know them, and they're just like so down to earth and normal guys, just like you and me.
Yeah, like I remember when I was talking to Freddy, he said the exact same thing. He was like, oh, I thought when I met Roland, like it was gonna be this type of person where it's like the fame gets to him or something, but he was like, bro, complete opposite. Like so laid back, so chill, so cool to talk to. Like, mind you, I've never met him, and to hear like multiple people, especially that actually went to that show, just say the exact same thing. It's really comforting because this is someone that I listen to, and this is also someone I could possibly look up to in case like we cross paths in the future.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I think it's also I noticed that with myself too a lot, just being outside and like getting to know people and like being active in a live music scene and having people that know me for some reason, even though I don't know them. And then, like people coming up to me and being like, yo, I always thought you were like the most arrogant, unlikable person ever until I talked to you. And I think it's really a lot, just being fucking shy and awkward and don't not knowing how to talk to people and being like a weirdo, and then people mistake that as being arrogant and being like, I think it's really it's also the case for a lot of people, in music generally. I think because it's in the end we're all, like I was saying it with Grooves the other day, and also when the Roland Jones situation was going on in December, and we had this Airbnb with all the people from other countries, and Grooves just said, yo, this is like the biggest fucking nerd get together I've ever been to. And I was like, this is like hell yeah. And you just have all these people you can talk to everything Phonk about, like most of the time you get to know people in real life, and it's like, yeah, Phonk, and then like, oh yeah, it's okay, this and that, and then like, yeah, nah, it's like Memphis inspired instrumental, yada yada yada. But like just being able to talk to people about it freely because they know what you're talking about.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
because it's really difficult to like, I would say that's the one thing that's really different from like you guys, because I'm just getting into meeting people in person. I've only met probably maybe one, if not two people that live in close proximity from me, which is basically like the same state basically. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's different states, but it's like maybe a couple hours away. There's no one like down the street from me that knows what funk is. There's no one that I can be like, yo, let's do a DJ set together, or hey, let's practice or spin or just collab on anything. Like it's a lot different, I would say, versus like what you have, what you guys basically have.
Yeah, I feel that. Like I said, I consider myself really lucky to just have, all this, this German and Hamburg funk scene that I've basically been born into and get to experience all this by myself. But, I also got to say, like Germany and Hamburg having this distinct Memphis and funk scene is really also like a whole, what's it called, scene in and of itself. It's like until recently, I would give myself a little bit credit for that, until we started connecting with like you Robbgikma or Lil Rocketman or Teddy Color, Nicky Slime, all these people, it really was a strong disconnect to, you know, the rest of the internet worldwide funk scene. And, you know, I think that connection is just now like slowly starting to happen because we have rappers here who've been on the Memphis shit for years. And, you know, people that when you live here in Germany and you talk about funk and Memphis shit, you know, everybody's gonna tell you like Donatello, Skinny Finster, Caramello, Maxasy, which are all names, or also AlphaMob, Lord Seshumaru, which if you live in Germany, you know these people from the scene. But internationally, I think they're not as prominent, you know, in the genre as a whole.
It's like you have to know somebody to know somebody at that point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. You know, you have to know a little bit about the German scene to know them, and not about the funk scene. You know, it's like two not completely different, but you know, kind of separate entities.
Yeah, so it's similar to like you have to know people that are from France or the Paris scene to know outside of just funk producers in general, I would say.
Yeah, yeah,
So like you would have to
exactly.
know about funk, and then you would have to know about people that are either from France, Germany, or just overall Europe or London or the UK, basically. Like you would have to know somebody to just connect the dots, basically, at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, so I actually did go like a little bit of digging through everything, and I would say the one thing I did think that was really distinctive is on your SoundCloud. Basically, you have like a list. I would say people keep their description. It's basically probably over 24 gigs or shows that you've done. I was gonna ask, is that sort of like your beginning or like your history of being a DJ in general, or just doing shows?
It's basically just a list of gigs I did. You know, it's I mean, if you compare it to other DJs who DJ other genres and do other shit, it's not that big of a list. But you know, it's cool to have there. Be like, okay, yeah, look, I played at this show and I played at this show. You know, it's like it's cool. And you know, I'm not the fastest when it comes to updating it. And also, you know, recently because I'm also, you know, doing like other shit, you know, in like different scenes of music, like the breakbeat, electro shit,
Yeah.
with like another alias, another AKA. You know, I had to split it up, and you know, before the list was even bigger because I just all listed them under the same name. But now I'm, you know, like distincting that a little bit from themselves.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what was the origin of like you having like Fokko, or I don't even know how to pronounce it. Sorrymane. Like,
I
what
was
was
like,
the distinction, or like what's the
um,
like how was the
yeah.
origins of having those two names?
Yeah, it's funny actually because Fokko is actually my real name. Like I have like three first names, and Fokko is like the third of it. It's like a really Northern German traditional name. I've barely met anyone who I mean I never met anyone who's also got this name. That's why I thought it would make a nice artist name. So I've been going under that artist name for forever basically. And Sorrymane was in the beginning just like a little side project, you know, of me being like, okay, I'm gonna produce these beats. And then origin of the Sorrymane name is actually kind of funny because I was just making these beats all the time, and I had my homie Young Schiebedach, and you know, we were just playing basketball all the time back then, and at some like schoolyard courts. And you know, we had this thing because obviously we're German. Most of the time we would speak German with each other, but me and him, we had like this thing where we would just. I mean, I think it probably sounds really weird to you, like being a native English speaker. But we had this meme where we would just talk English all the time, and like just this heavy South Side Memphis accent. Oh yeah, man, you know what's up? I've been hanging at the crib, man. You know, just talk like that all the time. And so like we were playing basketball, and every time, or table tennis too, but like it doesn't matter, like some kind of game. And every time someone was throwing the ball like hella far away, the other one had to get it. The one was like, oh sorry, man, you know, no, you gotta get the ball. Sorry, man. And at some point we're like, okay, sorry, mate, is actually like would like be a kind of funny name to go by. Yeah, and then you know I started doing these beats, and my homie was like, yeah, you should go hard with this, and you know put it out under like a nice artist name. And I was like, okay, yeah, what the fuck, I'm just gonna go with Sorrymane, and yeah, that's it.
And then the name stick till this day.
Yeah, exactly. And now, you know, at some point where I was like, okay, this Sorry Man thing is like getting kind of like a little bit of traction. I'm like not not, I don't know. I mean, there's like way bigger people in the scene than me. There are like people with way more traction, but you know, it's got like a little bit of reputation to it. So when I started, doing other genres, which I did because I just, like fucked with it, and then I DJ'd under Sorrymane with that, and then people would come up to me and were like, "Oh, yo, I came to the fucking Sorrymane show. Where's the fucking funk shit? Where's the trap shit?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, true that. So I'm just gonna go by my other artist name for that." And now that's where that separation is coming from.
Okay,
So,
got you.
like people can, if they see a name on the lineup, they can expect a certain sound to be heard and not come there and be like, "Oh, what the fuck is going on here? This is not what I signed up for." Yeah.
Because it's like a different lineup, especially like if you're queuing something for a certain set. You don't want people to think of one genre versus if you're making funk or versus trap or just D&B or jungle in general.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask, how long have you actually been DJing in general? Because I saw that maybe the earliest post I've seen on your Instagram was probably 2019, 2018, maybe
Yeah.
even earlier than that, maybe like 2016, but it wasn't focused on music.
No.
So how long have you actually been not performing, but basically how long have you been DJing in general?
I mean that Instagram account is basically my private Instagram account I've had since I was like 13 or something. I deleted a whole bunch of posts too. I mean, like nobody's supposed to see this shit now. But I don't know. I mean, I've been producing music basically since like 26 something. But back then it was just me, opening up GarageBand for once in a while and trying to put up some Suicide Boys type beats. I didn't even know what funk was. It was like evil beats with horror samples and looped Memphis vocals over it, and that was Suicide Boys or 36 Mafia type beats to me. Knowing that was funk, actually it just came like 2 or 3 years afterwards, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I got more into it, and DJing I've been doing since 2018 or 19. I'm not sure right now. I think it was like late 2018 where I got my first controller, which was like this really trashy like virtual DJ controller, which was like, yeah, it was ass basically. But then you get one thing to the next, and then it all comes down to something. But so like about 6 years, I'd say.
Okay.
DJing about 6 years, producing about 8. Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna ask. This isn't like a question, but technically is, but it's gonna be also a follow up. So like, what's something that's changed since you actually started, and if there's any tips for anybody that would want to, I would say, DJ in the next year or two.
You mean like just the tips for DJing and getting into it and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's just, for DJing, the basic principle of fucking DJing, like having two tracks and like mixing them together and, having a crowd in front of you and, turning up with that crowd is just learning by doing. There's like this whole fucking other shit that you have to care about nowadays if you really want to be a DJ and, want to make money with it, which I, by the way, barely do. I still have to go and do fucking jobs and shit. I wish I could just do DJing for a living. But if you're really onto that, you need to do like some fucking mainstream shit. In Germany, that would have to be techno. In America, it's probably gonna be something like rhythm dubstep shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like EDM stuff. So like things that can gather a crowd, not funk. You can't do any. You can't make money with
Like
funk
there's
DJing.
like I was talking to like DJ T, man, and he was like, it's sort of like, I guess, house beats that he like DJs when he's not doing funk. So I would say that's sort of the scene that he goes for.
Yeah.
Because I know he's based out in Canada, but like he definitely distinguishes, or he, depending on like the sets that he used to do last year, he definitely doesn't just do funk. Because he's told me in conversation before, it's like funk ain't the shit when it's performing live. It's like you gotta do other genres to get a crowd moving, I would say, if you
Yeah.
want to do this for a
Yeah.
living.
Yeah, if you want to do this for a living, yeah, but you can get a fucking crowd moving with funk.
Yeah,
You
that's
can.
true.
It's and it's fucking a ton of fun because I also like starting to DJ other genres, like more of the rave shit, the drum and bass break shit. I started distinguishing in my head between raves and parties, and when I go to a club that's playing drum and bass, it's a rave for me, or like electro or like break beats, and because you're on your own and you're focused on the music and you're totally into it and just dancing, forgetting the time and just being in the fucking moment all the time. But funk party is a fucking party. I mean, it depends, like the funk parties we do, like the Phonky Phridays is a fucking party. Night of the Trill always was more of a rave where you could just like get lost in the music. It also had the party moments, but Phonky Phriday is really more a trap party than a rave, because it's about getting a bunch of people together, and it's like about the energy of the crowd, interacting with each other, having mosh pits and jumping together and shouting shit and stuff like that, which you don't have. I mean, you have recently at raves because TikTok happened, but like the original ravers don't like to see that because it's not the kind of vibe that they were going for. But funk and trap music is definitely fucking party music and not rave music.
Okay. All right. So transitioning from DJing to actually, I would say, labels and also like collectives. So I would say I've heard the name Stay Hydrated multiple times, like in the last like 2 years, because of because your brother, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
always in conversations, bro. Always like stay hydrated.
Yeah.
It's like reason I'm always fucking drinking water now at this point, man.
Yeah,
stay
hydrated.
So what's the story of Stay Hydrated, basically? Who started it, and how did you guys basically come up with the name and the members to come along?
Yeah, it's basically around the same time what I was telling you about with the basketball playing and me getting into all that music stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Me and the homie Young Schiebedach is like one of my closest homies, and like I said, he was the one who was telling me, yo, you need to dig more into this shit. And back then he was still rapping a lot more, which he doesn't do so much recently, sadly, because I think he's a fucking talented rapper. It's German rap. So, but yeah. Anyways, we were just, like I told you, like doing these, just DJing, and at some point we were like, okay, let's do a fucking live show. And then we were thinking, what can we name our live show? And I don't know, Stay Hydrated just came to be because we always had this kind of affiliation with water. I mean, firstly, because Hamburg is probably a pretty big on water, the general, it's like the very water-based city. And like the EPs and tracks, especially Young Schiebedach dropped before, were also always had like a pretty heavy theme on water for some reason. I mean, it just was like random. It was like water was suddenly there, and then we were like, okay, let's take a nice tagline with water, so something that's easily remembered, A, and B, I don't know, we can identify with, and Stay Hydrated is like a good message and easily remembered, and I don't know, something with water. So that's that's how it came to be. Yeah. Hold up. Maybe shit. My setup is pretty rough right now. Let me show you something. At all times, it's the
that's dope. Is that like the first ever
poster for the first party?
That's
dope, it was
man.
like your Live X and the fucking Sorrymane and Lord Seshomaru. That was a big thing for us back then. It was like, yo, we getting motherfucking Lord Seshomaru on our party.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's actually great to actually see, because I only have one poster of like one of the shows that I've been to. Like, I wish I could get one to each show that I was at, but that's kind of
cool. I want to do
cool.
that too. We actually didn't get to hang up these posters everywhere before the show because we just forgot about it or something, and now I have like all these fucking posters of that day because that was like 5 years ago, and now I got all these posters still, and we never got to hang them up for promo or something. But I mean, I'd love to have like more, but we never really did that again since then. But we have to. We really have to. We have to put like more effort in our promotion. Yeah. Now that I think about it, it's like
yeah, bro. It's just a bunch of like cooking up in general, like DMing people back to back. I would say because like I know it's a strenuous process. It's really difficult to get people to come to shows in general, both in America and in Europe too. Hell, honestly, like it takes like 3 to 4 months from my knowledge to get shows or get people or get talent. I would say in general, just to come
yeah.
to either like the East Coast or go to Colorado, where Funk Around is. Like I commend you guys honestly for just having multiple shows and just having people either fly out or take the train or just drive
This
everywhere, bro.
mind baffling to me that like people will come, you know, like because you know in the party scene, like normally you're used to, you know, I'm gonna text this artist and be like, yo, you want to play at my show, and I'm gonna pay you this and this amount of money, and I'm gonna pay for your flight and your hotel and everything, and you know, it's like basically the other way around, like, or it's been like that for the past few times. Yeah, it's amazing that it is like that. I'm really grateful for that, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's also, you know, we still gotta be. It's still sometimes better, sometimes worse with like the attendance of shows. You know, like especially the one with the French guys in October was really was going really well. The last one was also going well, but not as well as the one before. And you know, it was still a lit party, but you're still like there, like you know. But it's nice because you know just living in Hamburg and you know going places and then like hearing people, you know, just not even really realizing that you know that I'm Sorrymane and I'm doing these shows, and then people are like, oh, I went to this party last weekend called Phonky Phridays. It was really lit, like trap party. It was nicest trap party since COVID times. And I was like sitting there like, hell yeah. Yeah, that's great, honestly. Like just having people recognize what you're doing, and then just hearing people like talk about, oh, when's the next one? What's going on? Just having, you know, it's nice that this event has got like its own reputation now. That people are not only coming because there's like some DJ that they know booked there, but you know because the event is nice. So it's more about the music than about any big names or something. I mean, it is too, obviously, all the time. You know, especially in like event scene. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Yeah. I don't know where I was going with this, but
Nah, man, you're good. I was gonna say, this is also like origins of Phonky Phridays. So basically, it started a few years ago. So basically, like
2 years ago, yeah.
So basically, like after the pandemic, or like it was kind of like calming down, and the fifth installment, I would say, the fifth installment came out, or like the fifth installment happened recently.
Yeah.
So are there any talks about having Phonky Phridays or like the sixth installment in the future?
Yeah, the sixth installment is already planned. I think you also already know when it's gonna be happening. Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, it's on the 26th of April, which is my birthday too, and also the 27th of April is the birthday of a good homie of mine called Fendi Finn, and we're gonna have a nice birthday session there, and Lil Rocketman is gonna be playing there as well as Grooves and DJ Source, which is also one of the best funk DJs I know, and also best one of the best DJs I know, period. And yeah, and it's gonna be really nice. Ladybug is also gonna be playing there, and we're gonna have one hell of a party. And like not all of them, I hope all of them, but like really like Robbgikma is probably gonna pull up, and No Sauce, and like the French dudes and the UK dudes, and they are gonna come back together, and it's gonna be really nice. And you know, on the day afterwards, on the 27th, it's planned that we have like a little after session, you know, like the day after session, where at a pretty new club in Hamburg called Locke. I'm really not sure if I'm allowed to say all this stuff now, but I mean,
dude, it's all good. Like I'm not 100% sure when this is actually gonna come out. So because I already have everything installed, so most likely this will probably come out like either after the event or probably like the beginning of the summer at this point.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like it's yeah, I mean, I'm only spilling my own beans here, so it's it's all good in the end, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like a pretty new club. I mean, it's like an old club, but it's like under new management, and it's like friends of mine who do the management, yada yada. And there we're gonna have like a little, the day after session where we're gonna I wanna put up all the people on the lineup who didn't get to play on the Phonky Friday, because obviously you can't put like fucking 10 people on the fucking lineup and have each of them play like, I don't know, 30 minutes. That would be just bullshit. And I gotta look at it from like a businessman event planning kind of side, have like some locals playing to get the people coming, and all that shit, like, because obviously all of them want to play at the Phonky Friday show, because that's gonna be the fucking turn up. But because it would be just fucking stupid of me and wasted potential to have like so many high carat funk producers and DJs come to my city on my fucking birthday and not not give them like an opportunity to play. So we have like this day after session planned where everyone's gonna play who's not gonna play at the Funky Friday. I think like right now we're speaking of Teddy Color, Robbgikma, No Sauce, DJ T-Main, and Bass Mobile. I think he told me to, but I'm not sure about that. It's like a bunch of people, definitely.
From Phonky Friday to just starting funk, or just having the funk scene in general come to Hamburg, and Hamphis at this point being the nickname. So how did you initially find funk? This is like the big question. How did you actually initially find funk?
Yeah, basically like I said before, I was just, fucking 16, 17 years old and going to, discovering the nightlife for the first time, we started drinking alcohol and smoking weed, and then ending up at some fucking trap concerts and trap parties, and eventually also ending up at Night of the Trill, for example. Or back then there were like some other notable events would be Hackfleisch Vegan, Chains Club. Before Night of the Trill there was this there were these parties called Damn Son, but I think I've never been to one of those. But like basically just trap and hip hop parties and events in Hamburg, and because there was like this strong tendency, especially in that time back then. Like now it's a little more dumbed down, but back then like the Memphis sound was huge in German rap. And so basically, and like there was this phase also like 2017 18 where everyone in like my age span was like listening to 3-6 Mafia like all the time. And yeah, I don't know, I distinctly remember hearing Sippin' on Some Scissor for the first time and being like, yo, what the fuck is that track? And then they were like, here, 3-6 Mafia, Sippin' on Some Scissor. And I was like, okay, nice. And I went home and I checked it out and I was like, yo, what the fuck? This shit is like 20 years old. I thought it was like, it just came out recently, and I was like, yo, holy shit. And then, I dug down in the 3-6 Mafia, Memphis rap, rabbit hole. And, it was basically, at first it was just like me listening to like Memphis rap, Suicide Boys, Young Lean, A$AP Rocky, that type shit, like Denzel Curry and stuff. And then, a few years in, I was also kind of funny. This story is like, I don't know if I'm like holding out too long here, but I was at this festival where I was hanging with like a bunch of my friends at like, after the festival, just hanging around at the park car on the parking lot, with like, he had like this big subwoofer and sound system installed in his car. He tuned it up to the max, and then just bump tunes there all night. And back then I just had like the little flip phone. I had no smartphone because I was fuck smartphones. I would also have a flip phone right now if I wouldn't have to have one because of society, bro. But then I took a video of that and I went home to my homie Young Shibedach and was like, yo, what the fuck is this song? I need to know this song. And it was like, I think it was Smoke Gang Rider Music by DJ Smokey. And then he showed me that with the music video of him like trapping in the banana suit and all that. And I was like, yo, what the fuck is this shit? This is like hell yeah. Yeah. And then it was just at first it was just DJ Smokey and Sudier there and stuff like that. And Dre Ski Mask, very important,
Yeah.
because Dre Ski Mask also produced a lot of German rap tracks back then, or not a lot, but like a few very notable ones for like Young Horn, Johnny Five, which is actually funny. You remember this, like these AI music icebergs that Von Storm did once?
Yeah, I remember that
And there
video.
was this funk iceberg which was AI generated, and there was the name Young Horn in there, which is like a pretty he's like by now he's a huge celebrity in the Austrian German scene because he's from Austria. But seeing his name in there was like really funny to me, because he was also, I was also listening to him back then, and he was also rapping on Dre the Ski Mask beats, and definitely having that Memphis influence to his. So, seeing him in this iceberg, which probably most of the funk community internationally don't know like of his name, or you ever heard of Young Horn?
Yeah, I've heard of him like once or twice.
Yeah, but it's like
not as much, because I'm just trying to discover more people every other day, because there's so many different people popping up recently.
Yeah, I mean, I like, in my opinion, he's really fallen off. Like recently, he's just like doing trashy Cattleman music now. But back in the day, was like really nice, ignorant, Memphis inspired, and like trap inspired German hip hop, Austrian hip hop.
Okay.
And yeah, that was so I just found it funny, that his name was appearing on this iceberg when when he was like, I think he never really, there was never a point where he would call himself Funk or anyone would call him Funk, but him being included there anyway, I found really funny.
I've heard like one person say it before. So you only have your discography based on SoundCloud and Bandcamp, and I saw it was pretty deep discography when it came, especially with the last tape that you have, which was Flexin' Styles Stunt Tricks 2.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask, what's reasoning for not posting as much on Spotify? Because the only tracks that you have are either collabs or features with Big Brother, Nicki Simon, Blueberry in general.
It's a pretty simple answer to that. It's because I had all my shit uploaded until some point in last year, and because I didn't have a credit card, I was going over the one from my dad, because you only can pay DistroKid in credit card, and at some point it expired, and since then I've just never been able to get around to get a new one and get that shit back up there. So it's not me being like, yeah, fuck Spotify, even though fuck Spotify, by the way. But I'm working on it. I already got a new one. It's not the online function of it is not working right now, but I'll get it working, and gonna have all my shit back up on Spotify too soon. But also regarding the Spotify theme, while we're at it, the topic, I've been thinking about just releasing all my stuff on Spotify without vocals, like, because I think, which is also like, I don't know, it kind of icks me a little bit, but in the end I also don't care so much, because like all these producers just making funk beats and then putting like a fucking vocal remover, a cappella, just the whole fucking thing on there, and then in the end it's basically just a bootleg, not like a whole track you made by yourself. But it kind of doesn't care, because it's fucking hard, and I also do it all the time, and it's hard as fuck, and it's fun to make and shit. But on the other hand, like my artistic side of personality is like a little bit of like, oh no, that's too easy, you need to do crazy shit more, and yeah, so and I mean like all the other sampled stuff in those tracks is also like not licensed and anything, and you're just pulling like a melody and you're putting trap drums over them, and calling it a day. Which I don't want to generalize all of funk here. I just mean that it's like a very prominent thing I've seen going on like recently, and I'm also guilty myself of that. So I want to step my shit up a little bit in the future, and not just put together a bunch of samples and then put acapellas over there. And also because like this last tape, this Flexin' Styles 2 tape, like the pinnacle of me just doing that all the time. So I'm like a little indecisive about am I gonna put it on Spotify? Am I gonna put it on Spotify without vocals? Am I gonna put it on with vocals? And like what am I doing? Do I have to fear like copyright issues? But basically not, because I'm is like I'm not a million streams worth, but yeah, no. I mean, in the end, I'm probably just gonna say fuck it and put it up all like before. So
All right, man, cool. So transitioning to that, like you talked about multiple times, like AlphaMob and Night of the Trill in general, that was
yeah,
probably a big standing thing that I continuously kept talking about. No, not me, but you kept talking about
yeah.
just in general, with like having your path cross with funk, especially when it comes to live shows and everything. You talked about multiple people coming to different live shows when it comes to Hamburg and Germany in general. So who is one person that you've basically met in person that you're actually excited to meet or like fanboy about, basically, and like who's somebody that you would want to collab with, whether that's someone that you met in
Or
person or
like,
someone in the future?
okay, like you mean who've I've already met, which I'm excited about, or like who I want to meet?
Somebody that you've already met.
Okay, someone I've already met. There's a bunch actually, because just like I mean, at this point I just have to give a shout out to the whole Night of the Trill posse, like AlphaMob, Funky Cool, and Lord Seshimaru. Because with all of these people, at first when I got introduced to them and talking to them, our first conversations were all, or like at least felt like I was like the fanboy being like, oh yeah, I get to hang out with fucking AlphaMob and Lord Seshimaru. And then, as those are of course some really big inspirations and idols, and I was really fanboying hard when I met them first. Other than that, I don't know. I think like the most people I've met, I've had enough contact, like online before to really have that fanboy moment in that moment. Roland Jones was also really really fun to meet because I also was a little bit like, wow, oh my god, it's fucking Roland Jones. But it's in the end, it was so chill with him that we got over that like really quick. I mean, we still haven't talked that much, sadly, but it is what it is. Yeah, and also what you also asked, like who I would really like to meet, which is a bit of a bummer because times have changed, and I want to meet DJ Smokey, but like 2017 DJ Smokey, and make like music with him. But because also like one of my biggest regrets is like I distinctly remember 2018 was like the year I really got into funk. It was like April 2018, 420, like 20th of April 2018. There was like this Night of the Trill happening here with DJ Smokey as headliner, and 420 edition was fucking packed, and it was like craziest session. But I haven't been there because I was way too stoned at my homie's place, being like, "Whoa, yeah, what's going on?" And okay, come on. And then was like again, young Shibada, one of like the fucking guy. He was like, "Come on, man, let's go to fucking Night of the Trill. It's fucking DJ Smokey playing, bro. You're not gonna want to miss this." And I was like, "Bro, who the fuck's DJ Smokey?" I'm gonna stay here, And then like 2 months after that, I found out like, what the fuck was I with you? Like, what the fuck did I do? And then just found out about who DJ Smokey was and what I've actually been missing out on, and all that. But I'm like the biggest fucking DJ Smokey stan. So yeah, recently, ever since he started dropping nukes everywhere, that's like a little I fuck with the vision at some point, but I always thought it's been too gimmicky for me ever since the nuke stuff started. Even though I kind of dig it, but
It's like on and off, I would say.
yeah. But because Positive Squad, the soundtrack Volume 1, I think is the name. The one with the skeleton in the coffin that's eating a banana or something. That DJ Smokey tape is like my top fucking funk tape of all time, and it's never anything's gonna ever come up to that. That shit's legendary in my books.
Yeah.
And like all the fucking DJ Smokey stuff. Like I said, I'm like the biggest DJ Smokey stan.
Like
So
Adventures in
like
Nightmareland and everything, bro. Like it's
yeah,
awesome.
like Evil Ways, 1, 2, 3, Mystic Ways, fucking Smoke Tape, like Purple Diamonds, the early shit, all that stuff. I know all of it by heart, except this nuke stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I'm like
Word.
DJ motherfucking Smokey.
So we're almost at an hour in closing statement. So who's someone that you'll want to see in the future? Like this is still gonna be posted on YouTube, but after this is gonna be like Spotify exclusive, basically. So like, who's somebody that you'll want to see in a future video?
On the show. Okay. I mean, I think you really should talk to AlphaMob, because he's probably got a lot to say and to tell stories about the whole thing about like how the whole Memphis shit started in Hamburg, and like all the evolution with it. I mean, I'm just I'm the offspring of what he created here. So he's like the originator. You should really talk to him. Also like Lord Sesshomaru, obviously. And I would just like, I mean, I could just go on and tell you all of my homies that I think should deserve a spot on this. Like Roofs, for example, he's fucking legendary too. Everyone's waiting for the comeback, which is coming soon, by the way. I know shit you don't. Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe it's a little too soon to get a little problem on here. I don't know. I'm also gonna say, I'm gonna say this just to go on his nerves. Don't. Little problem is still too young. He's still teenager. You gotta grow up a little bit. Or he's gonna hate me for this.
Bro, he hates me for saying that shit. Well, not me, but like me and Alec or Lil Rocket, man. Especially, bro, he like multiple fucking voice chats. He's like, bro, I mean, like it's fucking Hamphis get turned, like
Yeah.
it's just funny as shit. Even though like he's like, fuck you, thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
but for noticing, I guess.
But I think he's growing up, and still he still needs to learn some matters in some regards, but he knows. I mean, it's like this whole funk community thing, and I'm a really proud big brother, I gotta say, at this point, because just my little brother picking up Ableton at 11 years old, and at first he was producing like the most meme Mario Party sample with like a cymatics drum kit loop over it, and then some fucking Memphis sample pack vocals, and it was the goofiest shit ever. I mean, if I showed it to you today, I mean, you could consider it p-honk probably. But and we were always like, oh yeah, it's Lil Problem, Actually, I came up with the name Lil Problem too. I was like, yo, if you're gonna do music now, you're gonna call yourself Lil Problem, because you're fucking 11 years old. And then he's just continued with the shit, and we were all like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just my little brother doing like this silly goofy beats. And then now he's also like 5 years into it. And have you listened to that fucking Xmas EP, bro? That
It's
shit,
actually lit. It actually is
I
lit, bro. I'm
it's fucking
shocked.
crazy. I mean, in some regards, I mean, it's also because I've been really, really, really lacking on the producer side lately, because I spilled some water over my MacBook last year, and then a lot of my shit was gone, and now I'm on this fucking Lenovo ThinkPad for some time, and you can produce, but it is no fun at all to produce on this fucking shitty ass laptop. So I need to get a new setup back soon to get back in the game. But yeah, so. But yeah, my point being that my little brother probably can outproduce me at this point. So,
Yeah, man.
but yeah, that makes me really proud. Also, getting him to play at like shows. I mean, he's like 15 years old now, and with 15 years, you're not even allowed to go in any clubs. You have to be 18 minimum in Hamburg to go in any of these clubs. When he's already been to the club 4 times, and
Jeez.
3 times of those 4 times he's been DJing himself. So like,
That's a lot more experience than I would ever think for anybody. Especially the fact that he's like under 18 or like he's
yeah,
15 basically right now, bro. It's just crazy.
it's completely crazy. It's insane to me.